Good morning. Today is the 27th of June, the day of the big presidential debate in the United States between two geriatric. Um, yeah, who cares? So, what's happening in Ireland today? Well, some interesting news. The Taoiseach, our Prime Minister of Ireland, Simon Harris, another uh, bought and sold politician. There was a bomb threat at his house last night. So somebody rang up and said there was a bomb at Mr. Harris's residence. His family were evacuated, but no bomb was found. That's the first I've ever heard in my life of a bomb threat to an Irish Taoiseach or Prime Minister. Not great. Okay. Second thing I'd like to talk about is the Irish pilot strike. What's happening is the company Aer Lingus and the unions are in emergency negotiations now because the summer is going to be ruined for all the good taxpayers of Ireland, and the government cannot allow this to happen. But it cannot also allow the unions to get what they want, because should the unions get their 22-24% pay increase, well, that's going to open the floodgates for every other union in Ireland to start looking for a real wage increase, a proper wage increase. And also, the government will lose, not that it matters, some support, but the main reason they might lose some support from people who lost their bookings or whatever. But the main problem, of course, is that the unions, if they win this, that's going to put a lot of pressure, because the renters cannot directly influence unions and pay in Ireland. They can do a lot of other things. They can try and get as much out of us as they want, but they can't. They have no. They can't dictate how much income we make, and that is the only problem they have, which is a good thing for us, of course. But if you consider that today the ESRI, that's an economic think tank in Ireland, has put up a ridiculous thing that Irish people are going to earn 4% extra next year, as in their wages will be increasing by that much. This is the big news put out at the same time, of course, as the negotiations to the strike. One would believe that's great old news for Ireland, but then when they put inflation and the predicted inflation at around 2.7, it looks like a pay increase of 1.3%. But that's not taking into account, of course, what's been happening the last few days in Europe, where we have signed on with these massive sanctions against Russia and going to sanction China. So obviously what's going to happen with these sanctions is there's going to be a big rise in the price of energy. Goods coming from China, which 90% of what we buy here is from China. So this 4% increase is just a joke. It's not going to happen. And in fact, we are going to be earning less money next year and being able to buy less with what we have. And of course, if the unions then start, basically the public sector unions like teachers and nurses, if they get a sniff of a victory for the Aer Lingus pilots, well, I hope every other union comes out and starts saying, pay us some more, please, a lot more than we're getting, because it's becoming clearly obvious to most people that even if a pilot can't make money living and working in Ireland, there isn't much hope for a guy working in a factory, or teachers even. I mean, teachers' pay sounds great, but what can you buy with it at the end of the day after paying your tax? And speaking of tax, as I said before, we have a universal social charge of 2% here in Ireland. And if you want to look up the USC, the Universal Social Charge, it was mainly paid to pay off the debts to the IMF and the European Central Bank. And apparently we owe the European Central Bank still 80 billion, because I honestly believe that's what we borrowed. Going back nearly 15 years, I think that's really how much they gave us. It was 80 billion, but would you believe it? We still owe them 80 billion. Yet at the same time, we've over 350 billion in assets in the Federal Reserve in the United States. So it wouldn't take a genius to work out that if you just, transfer them 350 billion, sell some of them bonds, which are tanking at the moment, but sell them quickly and pay off that so-called debt to the European Union, then we would have no longer any need to pay a 2% to 4% universal charge in Ireland, which of course would mean the Irish people would get a 2 to 4% real increase in their wages, and they would see it, which of course would be a good thing for the Irish people. However, at the same time, as we all know, there will be some other new crisis brought in, mainly I would say towards a climate or a pandemic, where most of that money will be sucked up by our friends across the Atlantic and in England and the great houses of Europe. So yes, we are hitting a breaking point in Ireland, where 22 months this union negotiations have been going on with the pilots. That's how long the government are holding out, and it's not the Aer Lingus, it's the government, it's the elites. And my only fear is that should they get this pay increase, that Aer Lingus will start cutting jobs, which probably they will do, to give a warning from the government that they can't afford pay increases, which of course they can, because if we're taking 20 billion a year out of our economy to give to the Americans for bonds, I'm sure we could afford massive pay increases in this country. However, as you know, that's not what the government want. They don't want the people earning money and investing in what? Oh, building houses and build businesses. No, because they want that's controlled by the people that own the land. Most of the land in Ireland, by the way, is anything that's zoned residential is owned by big multinational trust funds, and nobody can get their hands on it if they wanted to. And now it's impossible to even build on your own land. So the good thing would be if the nurses and the teachers' unions and every other union started stepping up and looking for pay increases. That would be a start. And going forward, so the USC, the Universal Social Charge in Ireland, is the first thing that has to be looked at and scrapped, as it's just basically paying bondholders, or I wouldn't call them bondholders, investment funds and people like that, our money for money that was spent 15 years ago, not by us, but by other people who borrowed money. Very complicated story, but it's just one way that the renters, as I call them, legitimize and make money out of us. And looking at two other things that happened worldwide, I see the Kenyan president or prime minister has scrapped the climate tax and is now embracing the protesters, thinking they're great for doing it. And typical, Kenya is of course a British puppet of a state, an American puppet, and they are trying to pay back the IMF, just like us. And the people in Kenya have had said no way, could get lost, which is great to see, although there was 8 or 9 deaths, which is not what we want. And there has been a bomb threat, as I said, on our own president, prime minister, or whatever you want to call this puppet that we have, Simon Harris, another 14-year-old or 18-year-old prime minister who looks like he was bullied in school and looks very effeminate. But there you go, and he's leading our country. Another thing then was there was a coup attempt in Bolivia, and of course the Bolivian government is anti-imperialist, not into joining with the American plan down in South America. And the coup didn't last because the police actually, the head of the police said, no, I'm going to stick with with my job, and so that's a good sign. Always good signs. Other than that, I honestly expect that the unions will be buckled in Aer Lingus. The Aer Lingus pilots, the unions will be compromised. Whoever's doing the negotiations, they'll find something on them. It won't happen. They might get a 17%, 16% wage increase, but even then, that's a lose for the government. So, if they get a 16% increase, of course, everybody else is going to look for a 16% increase, and we are going to be told that we can't afford that, and which we can't afford, as I keep telling you. But so interesting times. As I said, we have the geriatric debate in the United States happening at the moment. What difference is that going to make to Ireland? Very little, because both Trump and Biden are pretend to be a friend of Ireland. One has a golf course, paying $5 an hour or something, and the other pretends that he's from Ireland and he's a cousin and all this rubbish. So that's just to keep the Irish American voters on hand. Anyway, it's only a joke of an election, same way as our elections are only a scam. But the main thing is money, and that's what I like talking about, is money, 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 money. And in America, there's massive problems. I'm reading all over the place there with regards to the interest rates not coming down is going to destroy many, many, many banks in America. The real estate sector is collapsing as we speak. The manufacturing, especially of cars and many things, is collapsing in the United States. So money, money, money is what brings people out. And as you see in Ireland, we have the strike, although 22 months in the making, is coming to its conclusion, and it's not a conclusion that can be good for our government. And also, I would imagine that in many European countries, it's going to start happening, where there's going to be massive national strikes, and there is going to be a change in how will I put it, local politics and ground politics, and people are just going to start, demanding more from their government, and hopefully it's a good sign. Other than that, no other news. It's a very bad day here in Ireland. It's like winter. It's been a terrible summer so far, although if you are a climate alarmist, you would say that it's the warmest summer we've ever had. I was at the doctor yesterday talking to a few people about this, and they're old farmers, and they were all in disbelief at the news that May was the hottest month ever. No, it wasn't. We've been told blatant lies about the weather, especially this is a good one. We've been told that farmers, or some people, are actually growing wine in Ireland because of the climate change. And as you know, Ireland's climate is not really good for wine, but I can tell you 40, 50 years ago, when I was on holidays in the southeast, the warmest part of Ireland, people did grow grapes and did make their own wine, and my aunt even grew grapes in her garden to make her own wine in the city of Dublin. So I don't think the climate has changed that much. But there you go. Once again, that's just the good old Irish news. So on the day that the pilots and the government basically are in negotiations, the government come out with some rubbish that we're going to earn more money. There's been a bomb threat on the house of the Irish Prime Minister, and the President of Kenya has decided to scrap a climate tax, which was supposedly to pay off the IMF as well, but it was branded as a climate tax. And let's see what happens. Well, we'll all look at this. I suppose we'll all see this stupid, acted out, scripted debate, and we'll all be laughing at the poor old man Biden making mistakes, and Trump will look fantastic, and everybody will vote Trump, and Trump is going to just do whatever Joe Biden was doing. But anyway, that's the story. So have a great day, guys. If you like what I'm doing, don't forget to like, subscribe. Don't press the notification button, because that's a waste of time. No one does that. And other than that, enjoy your day, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow. See ya.